Welcome to Some Say I'm Gifted, where we teach you the magic of walking in your spiritual gifts and how it can help you navigate this crazy life, and helping you understand that even though we're in this world, we are not of it. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let's get real.
Hello, world. I am Tess. This is Some Say I'm Gifted. I always want to say Some Say We're Gifted because there's three of us, but it's I'm because it's a saying.
It's a saying, yes.
Mm-hmm. But I'm here with my tri-host, Danielle Morgan. Danielle Morgan, speak up.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Excited to be here. Excited for what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I am too. I'm very excited. We're talking about ragtime.
Oh.
We're just going to leave it at that because, of course, I've got some questions.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. And these questions we want you guys to respond to, too. I want to hear y'all's answers. I'll give you my answers. But I want to hear your answer. You can find us on Facebook, Some Say I'm Gifted, Instagram, Some Say I'm Gifted, or Some Say I'm Gifted at gmail.com. Or whatever platform you're listening to.
Leave a comment.
Yeah. Huh?
Leave a comment.
And a review.
Yes.
And review. Yes.
Share, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Okay, now that all that rigmarole is out of the way. Okay, my least favorite music genre. Like, what's your least favorite music genre?
Oh boy, I would say like screamo music.
Really?
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
No,
me
I
too.
know. I just don't like my eardrum. Like when they go, wah! Like I'm just like, I don't know.
You don't feel that releasing your demons?
That's what I'm saying. I can feel it like it's a release.
Yeah.
Like when there's this one song, and I'm never gonna in this moment. Maybe I think it's the name of the
Oh, I
band.
love In This
with
Moment.
her. It's a girl.
Yeah.
Whore.
Mm-hmm. I love that song.
But if you listen to, I do too. When I'm having a panic attack,
Yeah,
I listen to
calms
that.
me.
Yes, it literally. But if you listen to it, it's not what you think it's about.
No.
Mm-hmm. What is it? What do you mean? Like,
Well, if you hear a song and the title's called "Horror," you think it's going to be about a horror.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
true.
not what she was. She came out of that and she did much more. And just
Relationship abuse type
Yes.
of stuff.
So that she was screaming.
I get
out.
cold chills. Look at my arms. Yeah,
Yeah. It was a great song.
it's a good song.
I'll give it a shot. But like the other screamo music I've listened to, I'm just like,
You just got to find your right. you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah. But that's mine.
And I don't like, I agree, like, if the entire song is just screaming, it's like, it could be done better.
I
But-
just like, I want to hear the lyrics. I
Yeah.
want to like feel the song.
You'll have to,
know?
we'll listen to, we'll play some
Remind
for you
me
later.
to show you a band later that you'll thank me for later.
Okay.
I mean, I just thinking, I can't remember the name of it. I have to look it up on TikTok. But in my brain, I can see the lead singer already, and it's like, I probably shouldn't have those thoughts. It's very righteous.
I see. Well, my name is Morgan, and my least favorite music genre would probably be jazz.
For real?
For real. Like,
I love me a little jazz.
I like jazz mixed into other music, but like, you know, when they like get a sax in there or like do, you know, add it to things, but I don't really enjoy it by itself.
Have you seen
too
the
much.
like goth jazz?
No.
The screamo jazz?
No.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a whole genre. I love it. It's
Okay.
great.
Maybe
Send
if
me.
we put our two least favorite ones together.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's really okay. I could see that it's like it's hard to follow, but I like that it's hard to follow. It's like it's like working in chaos.
Yeah.
So I like it, but
I could
feel
see
like-
how it'd be like a symphony type of thing.
yeah.
I feel like we work in chaos a lot, so maybe it's
Oh,
yeah, maybe.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
How about
Tess?
Quartet gospel.
Okay, I want to take that as my answer too.
So my mom and there's a shoe store. It's like used shoes, but it's like I don't know, models wear them. You know what I mean? Like so it's
Gotcha.
runway shoes,
Yeah.
but you buy them and
Is it
whatever.
like Depop? Like one of those?
No, it's just like a locally owned business here,
Okay.
but somehow they have connection with model. I don't know. Whatever.
Gotcha.
And every time we would go in there, we would like leave screaming at each other and like ready to fist fight. So I went in there by myself one day just to see why, and it was quartet gospel music being played, and I realized every time I'm around that religious quartet gospel, you know, like Mom, Aunt Sue, and Henry are singing together at the church, or the Clampets are they're gonna be y'all come to service. Like I just
Like, I just want to rip my hair.
And I know that's probably not, because I'm an ordained minister. I don't know if people are like, she's probably demonic. I mean, if you feel that way, just remember what Lucifer's job was before he fell from heaven. That's all I can say.
Music. Also, is that similar to the beginning of our podcast? Like that organ sound?
No,
it's different than that.
No. I'm talking about country, and but there's 4 of them, and they're harmon. You know what a quartet is, right?
Yeah, it's multiple instruments, right?
No, it's multiple harmonizations.
Of the voices coming together and just like.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
watched-
Yeah,
quartet. Duh.
it's like
okay,
it's like a almost like a chant, like a religious chant.
Okay.
It's very weird.
You watch Haunted Mansion? They have they have those guys that are singing in it.
Yeah, but they're a barber quartet,
Right,
which I like.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
I
different.
I mean, I can
cool,
handle that.
but
I'm not like listening on my way home.
but make that religious.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Lots of pompadours.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah.
I'll play you guys some later.
Oh God.
I think there's a local one around here called the Duggars. Whatever. Okay. No, actually, so our topic today is ragtime, which we could even take it as there's ragtime music.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But we're talking about the rag.
The rag.
You know what it means? You know why they call it the rag
She's
or
on
ragtime?
the rag. No, because they probably have to use rags.
Yeah, you had to use rags.
Yeah.
You know, here's the gross thing of it. They made rag dolls.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think if I were somebody that researched and studied dark craft, I would say that would be worse than a voodoo doll. But I'm not saying that I do those things.
I mean, given what's on the rag, I would say, yeah.
Yes,
That's...
which would be menstruation blood. So we're going to start out strong, and I know we're going to be open in this podcast, clearly.
Yep.
So if you're a dude and you don't want to listen, hold tight because you have women in your life. Okay, whether it's your mom, your spouse, your lover, your daughter, your sister, your coworker, the chick at McDonald's, whatever. You see women, right?
51% of women in the world.
Yeah. So I was 13. Funny story. 13th birthday. We were at Myrtle Beach. We were in Myrtle Beach. My cousin was a little bit older than me, and we were swimming. And she's like, "You need to go to the hotel room." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It was my actual 13th birthday, and she goes, "You need to go to the hotel room." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, and she wouldn't tell me. She's acting so dramatic. I was like, "Did you got to poop?" You know, I was a kid. You know, like I was like, "What's your problem?" And we get into the elevator from the beach, you know, and she goes, "You've got blood on you," and I was afraid the sharks would eat us. And I was like, "Why do I have blood on me?" And she's like, "You started your period," and I was like, "Oh," which is funny looking back because you thought a shark was going to eat us because of my blood, but I mean, I'm not bleeding out like that, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I was 13 when I got my period on my 13th birthday. What about you, ladies?
That seems really late in my experiences. Everybody's experience is different, but I was 9.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm right in between you two. I was at 11. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
I know.
So I know I went through a hormonal change where I hated things. Like I hated me, I hated my body, I hated life. I never really was that way before that. I mean, I don't think I realized that at the time, but my mom would be like, "Are you okay?" And she'd give me like the, you know, like the nod. You know what I mean? Like,
Tone yourself down or figure out what's wrong with you.
or, you know, like, and then when I got older, they put me on birth control to help regulate my period because I had really horrible periods. And like the first day of my period, I couldn't go to school because I was vomiting and I was curled up in fetal position. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. I mean, 24 hours of hell is what it was. And so they put me on birth control, the pill, and I tried to kill my little brother. It made my hormones worse. So then I got the patch.
Oh,
And that
gosh.
worked really well for me.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I had a similar experience. I mean, my periods were so bad that I would get sick after I ate, especially dinner, and I wouldn't be able to go to school. So I got on birth control at 15 to help regulate.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've been on it ever since. So that's what
I've been on it since I was probably about 15 or 16. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get on birth control. I had really irregular periods. I was super, super heavy for like long times. Like I would go 3 months without a period, and then I'd have like a 2-month long period of heavy flow, and it was horrible. And I'd go back and forth. But I went to the doctor, and they were like, "You have PCOS, and you can get on birth control to regulate it, or you can just kind of deal with it." And my periods weren't painful. dodged a bullet with that because my mom's were extremely painful, so I didn't have to deal with that. And I didn't want to change my hormones while I was growing, so I waited to get on birth control, and I didn't get on birth control till I was sexually active. So I did not regulate it with that, or didn't do it until I regulated it with that, and it didn't really change anything. Even when I got on birth control, it was still just all over the place, and the only thing was in the past 2 years I got an IUD, and that has completely taken my periods away.
No, I love IUDs. So this is my third one. They say after your second one you're supposed to be sterile, which is fine with me because I don't want to birth any more children. But they're a godsend. I mean, I don't have my period, and the cool thing is, as you get older, you can have it up until you go into menopause, and it will help you with that transition. And that's a beautiful thing because it's not as harsh on you. And why is it harsh? Do you all know why it's so harsh? Because we go from being essentially a boy to bleeding vaginally, which makes us ready to produce human life. And that's a hard pill to swallow. So you were 9. So let's look at it biblical times. You were a woman. You were a woman. You were able to be married.
Yeah.
And I get, every time I talk about this, I'm covered in cold chills the whole conversation because and not to mention, I'm watching this documentary on Peacock called Preaching Evil. I'm not trying to plug things. I think knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
And this dude, Warren Jeffs, I don't know if he's still in prison. I haven't got to the end of the documentary, but he got arrested, and he's, I think the youngest child he married like 27 women. They had like a commune thing, but one of the youngest child he married was 12, and I just keep thinking, like, these old men were going around, like, asking if they had their first blood. You know what I mean? Because then they were able to produce a child.
Right.
Yeah.
To like,
and this, I mean, right now I think the documentary, they're in 2010, so this isn't like old school shit. It's, it's current. It's more current than like biblical times. So, at 13, could I have handled it? No, I was a child myself.
Yeah, no.
My gosh, no. In grade school, you
Yeah.
know? Not even high school yet, and you're just trying to figure out, like, how to get an A on a test, let alone having a kid.
And everything's so awkward. Like, even just knowing that you had your period is awkward with yourself.
Yeah.
No, that was the weirdest thing for me.
People.
I don't think I really had felt awkwardness, and I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? Like, and
Your
I
mom
didn't
didn't tell you beforehand?
Huh?
Your mom didn't talk to you about this beforehand?
Well, she said you're going to go through changes, but she didn't say what they were. And I think she was waiting to see because she was like an insane person.
Oh, wow.
Like she could have been what are they called? Like the insane clown posse. What are they?
Yeah.
Juggalos, whatever. Juggalos. She could have been one of those. Like she was a totally different human on her period. And I think she didn't want to scare me. But yeah.
Wow, that was not my experience. My mom, like, before I was 9, apparently, explained everything to me and was like, these things are in the bathroom for when you need them. If you want to talk to me when it happens, let me know. But this is what's going to happen to your body.
Yeah, but y'all were together 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, I went to school. They talk about it in health class, and they said that would happen in health class. Sorry. But they're just little things like, once I started showing signs, it was really small amounts of blood at first. When I got my actual full-on bleeding was like 3-4 days after we got back from the beach. And we had to go to our dad's house. And my dad lived in it's not even a town, it's a village called Roan Mountain, Tennessee. It's beautiful, but it's teeny tiny. And I told him, I said, I think I'm on my period and I need tampons. So he goes and God love his heart. He was a great dad. He goes and buys one of those boxes that has every size shape.
It's
like
the small, medium.
Yeah, but it was huge. I remember thinking when he handed it to me, like, I have to put this inside me.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? I was just like,
size.
and I knew that we had different holes because, like, when my mom told me about sex, I was like, it comes out of our pee hole. She was like, no, you have a different, and she's like, that's also where you'll have your period. I knew those things, but I didn't know about the hormonal side of it, really.
Oh, okay.
For the first 6 months. And I think mom was trying to feel it out too.
Yeah.
Like say, okay, does she eat a lot? Is she wanting chocolate? Is she mad? Is she depressed? And kudos to her because at the same time, you got to realize she signed a waiver saying that I'd never have kids.
Yeah.
So there was a real high chance that I wouldn't have it. So I think she just kept it away from me until it was time for me to deal with it. Like cross that bridge when we come to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he also bought me pads, but he brought me pregnancy pads.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, because he's like, I don't know what, he's like, Chaz, get in the car, we're going to the store. And Chaz comes in, my brother and my dad, and they just got bags, and I'm like, what?
Oh my my God.
Because he was like, let's call your mom. So mom's like, Brady, you're going to have to go to the store. You're going to have to get, So, I mean, he bought all kinds of stuff. And he bought a lot of chocolate. And he bought a lot of junk food. And he bought me, I was huge in Elle magazine. You remember Elle magazine? Because it was like the French. And I thought it was so cool. And so he bought me a stack of magazines. And he bought me a whole, and he bought me flowers. And he was like, here you go.
Super
That's so
dad.
sweet.
That's so
Dads,
I mean, like, when
please
my
do
dad was-
this.
Yeah.
Huh?
Dads, please do this for your daughters.
When my dad was dadding, he was amazing. But when he was a poop head, he was a poop head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really left. But I remember going to the bathroom and he was like, there's an insert in the box that shows you how to place them. He said, I can't do that. He said, but if you have questions, I can try to answer them. Or we can bring, because it was a landline, we can call your mom and she can talk you through it. And I said, I'll just look. Because I'm like, at this point, I'm realizing this is awkward. Like, I didn't even realize it was awkward. I was like, this just feels weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the pamphlet and I was like, because it's really stick figurey. You know?
It is.
Anyway, so we look at it. I go through it. I look at it. And then I'm like, so I pull a pregnancy pad. Have y'all ever seen those?
They're huge.
They're like this long.
Oh.
And they're like a diaper, but they're wrapped in gauze and you're supposed to sometimes, like when you give birth, sometimes they'll and you tie it to a belt.
Gotcha.
Like a pregnancy.
Because
It's really weird.
supposed to
Yeah. But it goes from end to end. It's like,
Like a saddle.
yes. But it's this thick and it's supposed to even go around your butt. It's really bizarre. So I pull it out. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm freaking out. So I don't know if that burned me, but I never used pads.
Oh, wow.
I was never a pad girl. I was always a tampon girl. Pads freaked me out. Free bleeding freaked me out. I think it's because I just felt so disgusted
Yeah.
that, and I don't know about you guys, but I never really realized that you have body. I mean, I knew people had body, but I never smelled myself till that moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, something has died in me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
horrible.
Especially at
Rancid.
first, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And then you realize as you get older, okay, what I eat has to do with that and all kind. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. But yeah, but we change as females. We go from pretty much being a boy to having really sexual thoughts.
Yeah.
And having influences. I can remember, and if y'all didn't have it and you think I'm crazy, that's why me and my cousins called it the tingle. Okay. And I can remember watching movies and a guy would walk by or there would be a guy that I thought was cute and all of a sudden I would have a tingle inside of me.
Yes.
And I'm
It's
like,
like a little sparkly feeling.
yes.
Yes.
And but it's in your undercarriage.
Yes.
In the vaginal area. And
Yep.
you're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And nobody told me about that.
No, nobody tells you about that.
And I can remember going to my mom because I was like, I thought something, because I had cancer, I always thought something was wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, but it had happened so much. I went to mom and was like, hey, she started laughing. She goes, I've never heard it called that.
Oh.
And she's like, but that's absolutely what happens. And then I remember talking to my cousins about it. My cousin and I were like sisters growing up, and you would talk about it. It was really interesting because we would have this
Discussion.
yeah. And then as I got older, I realized nobody talked about it. So I was like, hey guys, this is what we have. You guys have wieners that get hard and come out. Ours tingle. I was that kid, because I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to know all about it.
Yeah.
And so I always ask a lot of questions. And that's probably the other reason mom didn't tell me anything. Because she knew there would be 20 million questions regardless of what she said to me. I was so inquisitive like my boys. So
Yeah. Do you think that had to do with you having cancer when you were 5 years old and being in hospital for so long and learning all of these, medical terms and scientific terms and stuff? Do you think that's why you had this fascination with the body and things that went on maybe?
I don't know if I necessarily had a fascination with the whole body, but the sexual side of things were very interesting because, and then I know that if people are listening to this, you're like, this lady is bonkers. But when I see somebody for the first time, I see their sexual energy. I don't see oh, they're a good person. Oh, they're a bad person. I see sexual energy. So I had a lot of sexual questions really early on. And why is it when I look at this person, I see, somebody, or I see him looking at pictures of buttholes, why is that in my brain when I see this person? And I mean, my mom, God love her heart, she was amazing with me and she didn't make me feel bad for it. She didn't, and she told me, that's part of our gifts is, God gives us the spirit of discernment so we can look at a situation and this. The thing is, it doesn't always work for yourself.
Yes.
So it's got me into some interesting predicaments because my choice of men varies a lot. I should say used to. But, Morgan and I were talking about this recently. I happen to be attracted to, at one point in my life, the lead singer vibe, which can be very
effeminate.
Cross-gender. Mm-hmm. Is that a appropriate word?
Metrosexual kind of.
No, I mean, if you think of Steven Tyler, he wore women's clothes.
Mm-hmm. Had the longer hair.
Mm-hmm. The big lips. Mm-hmm. I thought Freddie Mercury was beautiful. I was obsessed with George Michael's growing. I was in love with George Michael's. Yeah. And that came to bite me in the butt a few times as an adult. Not in a bad way, but it just exposed me to a lot.
Can imagine.
Yeah, we were talking about one of those exposures not too long ago, but yeah. So did you all have these weird? It's a huge change.
Yeah, it is. I feel like it was different for me because growing up in Catholic school, we didn't really have health class.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, they had health class, but they didn't talk about the body. So it was much different. And so we didn't really feel like we could talk about it a whole lot. I remember the day I got my period, we wore uniforms to school. And so there was a red spot on the back of my uniform. They were not black or dark navy blue, right? They were gray and white. So which I feel like they set us, the females up for failure. I'm not going to lie.
For real.
Because it happened to a lot of girls, 7th, 8th grade.
I wonder if that's intentional so that the school can...
I mean, you got to think about it. Girls are going to be probably getting on their periods in grade school, right? 7th, 8th grade. So why would they make us wear uniforms that were colored?
Right, to kind of keep track of who has
and hasn't
almost
started.
Like
a pre-now showing when people are on their period.
Absolutely. Because I went home with a big red blood stain, red stain on the back of my dress. And, it was at that point that my mom was like, all right, we got to talk about what a period is. And, I actually ended up using pads because that's what my mom used. But shortly after I joined swim team. So then I had to learn how to use a tampon, which kind of freaked me out because she was not there to help me with the whole process of inserting this tampon into, I had to figure out which hole it was. So that was a fun time.
So you didn't know there were 2 holes?
No, because the only book that I got, that a lot of the girls in my grade got, was the American Girl doll Karen Keeping a View book. So all of my friends were like, yeah, you read that book? Okay, great. But it didn't have a lot of diagrams in it. It was more just you're going to get pubic hair and, your breasts are going to get bigger.
This was an American Girl doll book?
Yes. It was made by American Girl Doll, but it was the Karen Keeping of You. So it didn't have the American Girl dolls in it, but it was basically for young girls who were purchasing the dolls to learn about them.
So I don't know if American Girl doll is that quote unquote Christian nationalist. I don't know if they follow that, but she told me about it and I looked up the book, right? Because I was we had been talking about periods or something. I was like, well, you know what? And I asked another client that's actually from Illinois, and she's like, oh yeah, I got that book.
Oh wow.
And I was like, what? She was like, it didn't say anything really. It doesn't. It just says that you'll get hair in places, your boobs will get bigger, and you will bleed. Yeah, pretty much it. But it doesn't say you have separate, you have a pee hole, you have a vaginal canal. It doesn't say anything.
Exactly.
And I know girls growing up that inserted the tampon into their butthole because they didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had no, and I was like, do you not have a second? You only got 2 hoes, you don't have 3? I can remember being just distraught. But yeah, I looked it up and
it's very odd.
It's because it's set up like an American Girl doll book. Yeah. And you know how all the dolls would come with little books.
Yeah.
And it's a story, but it's about your journey through. It was very weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would have never known about it if she hadn't told me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Freaked me out.
So that was kind of all that we had to go off of. So it was more of a self-discovery, learn as you go type thing for me. So, and I don't know if Morgan, your experience was, so I know you were homeschooled, so you didn't have, classmates, but you had cousins and.
Yeah, I had cousins, but our family didn't really talk about awkward things. We shoved down all of our emotions and anything like that. And I didn't have my hormones didn't fluctuate a whole bunch. I wasn't super moody. Me and my mom were really close and we talked and were open about stuff. So if I did have questions, I'd go to my mom, but I didn't have people my age to talk about this stuff with. So I didn't.
Yeah.
So nobody, it was just like nobody asked, did your dad know you're on your period? Was it just like...
So there was somebody that was like a work family member who awkwardly asked me if I'd started my period yet, which was really weird. I was like 10 and I started my period at 9, so it was like, yeah, I had, but why the heck are you asking me? Like, it felt very awkward. Like, why I don't...
Was she
I
an
still
older
don't.
woman? Or
Yeah, she was. She
like...
was like in her 60s or 70s.
She probably sensed it.
Maybe.
And if you know a kid's 10 years old, I mean, 9 years old is young.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, have you started? I mean, I would ask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
You would ask somebody else's child that you maybe saw twice a week.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
yeah, I would. Because if I saw a change of it and I noticed,
Oh.
like they were feeling frustrated, and they'd be like, have you started your period?
Oh, okay.
Because as females, I think we're pretty intuitive to that.
Yeah.
Without, so quote unquote being gifted.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can really feel it, or you can see that change in a girl. Because women become frustrated with themselves at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they know that there's limitations, and that's hard. So yeah, I would have asked.
Okay.
Because I'm also the girl that's like, we tingle,
Yes.
like I'm a female and I'm different than a boy, and let's talk about it,
Yeah.
I was always that kid. So
I think it just shocked me because I felt very awkward as a teenager and I didn't feel comfortable with.
But you were 10, you
that
weren't
stuff.
a teenager.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. No, but I agree, because I felt very awkward in my own body, especially because
Yeah.
nobody was talking about it. It was, for me, it was like a secret. Like, you weren't allowed to like say anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, this happens naturally for all women, but why are we not allowed to like talk about it? Why is
Yeah.
my health class not showing us these things? Actually, it's funny. In 7th grade, we my science teacher at the time put on a video of a woman giving birth, and the principal came down and shut it off because he was like, you guys aren't allowed to be watching
wow.
this.
We got that 7th grade episiotomy. You know what an episiotomy is, right?
Is a piece? No.
Okay, that's when the baby's so big they have to cut.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And
I don't want to hear it.
No, you got to hear it.
Oh.
'Cause I was in 7th grade, and I remember watching it, and I was like, I can't have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, safe bet here. But
Mm-hmm.
it cut from the vaginal opening all the way past the rectum.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was a tiny person.
Oh my gosh.
And, the
And this
baby
was just a
huge.
woman that was...
Yeah, they
giving-
videoed it. And
Oh God.
it was brought into our school.
Wow.
Did it stop us from having sex? Hell no. But it was definitely there.
Yeah.
It was in your face, and you couldn't deny it.
Yeah. See, ours, it was very, very different. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I'd love to know what everybody else's experience was,
Absolutely. And how your body handled after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because on our next episode, we're going to get into a little bit more, like, because I'm the only one that's had a child here. But I want to talk about the hormone. But you've been around people that have had children and how it affects their mental abilities and emotional abilities and physical abilities. I'm not saying, like, once you have a child, you're incapacitated. I'm saying it does change you hormonally and how you perceive life for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be pretty damaging. But, yes, absolutely reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us at somesaymgifted@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Like, subscribe, share, leave a review.
Tag your friends.
Anything I'm missing here, ladies?
Just email us and send us your thoughts on this. I mean, this should be an open conversation. We want everyone to be able to share what their thoughts are and their experience. And if you guys have questions, please reach out.
Absolutely.
Consider
y'all.
sharing this with somebody who might be going through this.
Absolutely.
Yes. And tune in next time because we're going to be getting in deep.
Continue.
Yep.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you.
Bye.